but pulling groundwater is not the solution for Corpus Christi.
As water woes rage on, coastal Bend cities are divided on future solutions. Find out why Sinton's leaders are speaking out just ahead.
All over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it.
A massive shift in bail bonds starting at the nation's capital, which could soon be law in Texas. What that is just ahead. Well, good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Clara Benitez Cortez. We begin tonight with a $783 million decision that could affect women's health, cancer studies, and many more facets of public health. As we previously reported, the Supreme Court voted to allow the Trump administration to cut hundreds of millions of dollars in grants for the National Institutes of Health. But how will this affect neighbors here in the Coastal Bend? Neighborhood News reporter Jada Jenkins has the latest.
Millions of dollars are cut. The U.S. Supreme Court allowed the National Institutes of Health to terminate $783 million in funding for research programs that directly impact diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm your Westside Neighborhood News reporter, Jada Jenkins, learning how the drastic changes could impact medical research.
The 5-4 court decision announced Thursday impacts research focused on minority studies, specifically HIV prevention, LGBTQ+ health, cancer treatments, and pediatric care. The ruling, taking away nearly $1 billion, means universities and medical centers relying on NIH funding could slow or shut down some research programs across the nation. I talked with Dr. David Smith, who is a political science professor at Sam Houston University. He says President Donald Trump made the cuts to best align with the values of his administration. Dr. David Smith says researchers are likely to file lawsuits over loss of funding within the next 2 weeks. The National Institutes of Health is the country's largest public funder of medical research.
I reached out to several universities and organizations in the Coastal Bend known to receiving NIH grants before, but none of them agreed to comment in this story. In Corpus Christi, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Jada Jenkins, Chris 6 News.
All right, Jada, thank you. And President Donald Trump signed an executive order today aimed at eliminating cashless bail. Cashless bail allows for the release of defendants while awaiting their hearing or trial without having to put up any money. Trump's order demands a list of other jurisdictions that have cashless bail policies. The order also threatens to take some federal funds for areas that don't end cashless bail.
All over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through federalization.
Supporters of cashless bail says it helps prevent discrimination against people who can't afford bail. But the Trump administration believes the policy is soft on crime. We've been reporting on the Corpus Christi Housing Authority and the housing deals for months, but some of those agreements and contracts could be illegal. Chris 6 investigative producer Rachel Clow reveals how housing officials may have broken state law while profiting from multi-million-dollar deals.
I hesitate to bring this up, but
we've uncovered red flags that could void millions of dollars in housing deals.
Hearing comments and rumors that I hope are not true.
Gary Alsop may not have had legal authority to make real estate purchases at all.
State statutes are very clear that it is a legal action by the housing authority.
Instead, the process may have broken state law and violated the housing authority's own rules.
Our third and final episode of Public Trust Private Gains airs tonight at 6. You won't want to miss it. In Rockport, crews around the area battled this double RV fire this morning. The Rockport Volunteer Fire Department tells us it happened around 10 a.m. at Corpus Christi and Dallas Street. A burning RV spread flames to a second RV and fifth wheel, making both vehicles a total loss. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Still no word on what started the fire. Well, as water woes rage on, Chris Siggs has been keeping an eye on the proposed deals between the city of Corpus Christi and the Evangeline Laguna Water. As we previously reported, it could cost the city $840 million. The project is focused on the city itself and neighboring parts of San Patricio County, but one of the towns being most vocal about the project is the city of Sinton. Neighborhood News reporter Adam Beam spoke with city leaders and residents who are concerned about the project depleting their supply of groundwater while raising costs for consumers.
Because the water in hot season like this, you waste a lot of water. And I hope if they come in, I just hope that they give us a reasonable price.
It's going to impact farmers that rely on that groundwater. It's also going to protect individual property owners that have wells out in the county.
The deal between Corpus Christi and Evangeline is still being discussed. The city will be providing updates on alternative water sources at Tuesday's City Council meeting. Well, 8 years ago today, Coastal Bend neighbors braced for what became one of the worst natural disasters in our time. Hurricane Harvey arrived on August 25th, 2017. The Category 4 storm made landfall near Rockport. Harvey caused the deaths of more than 100 people in Texas. Damages were estimated at $125 billion. The Rockport-Fulton area was one of the hardest hit. Aransas Pass, Port Aransas, Ingleside, and Corpus Christi also faced heavy damage. And it's not an anniversary to celebrate, but it's a good reminder of the dangers of severe weather possesses. And for more on Harvey, we turn to meteorologist Stephanie Laubert. Steph, what do you have on this catastrophic event that happened obviously several years ago?
Yeah, and it feels like it was a long time ago and yesterday at the same time. It's something that really stings home with folks here in the Coastal Bend because this is the most devastating storm we've seen in this part of Texas since the 70s. You know which storm I'm talking about, Celia. So let's run through kind of a recap of this storm to kind of get our ducks in a row and see what we can learn from this. Obviously, this was a slow-moving storm. It also underwent rapid intensification. So while the buildup was fast, it slowly deteriorated over eastern parts of Texas after it made its impactful landfall along San Jose Island in the Rockport-Fulton area. So going through a timeline, we saw some very, very savage, strong winds with Harvey as it came ashore. Top wind gusts observed 140 miles per hour. This is a Category 4 beast. Those wind gusts are Category 4, and that's how it came ashore in the Rockport-Fulton area. But a very small part of the population here in the Coastal Bend saw those strongest winds. They were only within the eye wall. So we're talking a very small portion of Aransas and Refugio counties as the storm came ashore. Other folks in surrounding neighborhoods like northern San Patricio County, Refugio, and Calhoun County saw Category 3 strength winds. Category 2 was basically reserved for those in the more northern path of the storm. And here in Corpus Christi, we barely felt Category 1 strength winds. So not all storms created equal, not all impacts created equal. We'll talk more about what else the tropics may be cooking up for us here in just a few minutes.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. And we have some updates regarding the Bee Point residences, the apartment complex that has been left without water for over a week. On Sunday, owner Eric Gross with the Gulf Sky Apartments LLC reached out to Chris Siggs and provided us with additional details. Gross says a third-party management company hired to handle operations such as utilities and communication with tenants left without notice last month. Gross also claims he was never contacted by the water company, and he assumed the on-site manager was the one communicating with the company. This on-site manager is also alleged to have been collecting rent for their own personal benefit, according to the owner. Gross added that once he became aware of the problem, he began taking action to correct the issue and get services restored. In Flower Bluff, neighbors have a chance to speak on their thoughts about the recent changes at the Hart Library. Earlier this month, Neighborhood News reporter Tony Jaramillo told us the library was reducing its public hours of operation. Flower Bluff ISD told Tony the library was doing it for safety of its students. Tonight, the city of Corpus Christi and Flower Bluff ISD are hosting a town hall meeting to hear neighbors' concerns. That's happening from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Hart Library on 2629 Waldron Road. And Corpus Christi Animal Care Services is extending its public adoption hours. Original adoption hours were 1 in the afternoon to 5:30 Monday through Friday. But starting next Monday, the adoption hours will open at noon and last until 5:30. Animal Care Services says by extending the opening by 1 hour, they hope the public will have more time to visit with potential pets. Again, the new hours for Corpus Christi Animal Care Services will begin Monday, September 1st. And the Clear the Shelters initiative with the Gulf Coast Humane Society continues, and tonight we want to introduce you to this sweet girl. Well, meet Tammy. She's a 5-year-old terrier mix. Tammy is looking for a forever home where she can feel safe, and she's got a heart full of love and is a perfect fit for someone who appreciates an independent pooch. If you would like to get to know Tammy, she's at the Gulf Coast Humane Society on 3118 Cabanis Road. It's Nate's next mission, fishing for foster kids. We'll cast a line into the story when we come back.
You're watching Chris 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
As the school year kicks off, an 11-year-old boy in the Coastal Bend is casting a line. I'm Ana Conejo, your neighborhood news reporter in the Bay Area, detailing the boy's goal of not only catching fish, but also getting help, all to support kids in foster care. This is Nate Gonzalez, an 11-year-old kid in the Coastal Bend, well known for his nonprofit, Nate's Next Kid Up. He gives back to foster families with resources like toys, school supplies, and even field trips.
We work with about 400 children throughout the year, and there's no doubt in my mind that Nate has done something for every single one of those children, whether it's school supplies, whether it's toys.
Now that school has started, Nate is getting ready for a big fundraising fishing tournament in partnership with local business R&K Coastal Outfitters, with all proceeds funding field trips from Nate's Next Kid Up Foundation.
We were talking and Nate told me about his dream to put on a fishing tournament.
A dream named Hooks of Hope. These are the tournament rules stating 4 members per team, with more rules to follow. The event will be on September 13 at Laguna Shores. But there's one catch. There's still many spots left to fill. Gonzalez says he hopes people will rally around the cause.
Every single time that I help a kid, I think my heart is growing bigger and bigger because I want to do this every single year, and I want to do this no matter what.
Diana Booth with Casa of the Coastal Bend agrees and hopes all join in for a nonprofit that is making foster kids and teens feel seen.
Kids get excited to know that there's people out there who really care for them and who are taking the time to donate and go purchase items and bring it to Nate, and which Nate brings to us.
Nate Gonzalez says he hopes to raise $20,000. You can go to our website at christv.com on ways on how you can help. Reporting in the Bay Area, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Ana Conejo, Chris 6 News.
All right, thank you, Ana. And it's not just Hooks of Hope. Nate Gonzalez has had quite a year providing support to kids in the Coastal Bend. Let's take a look back on Nate's journey. Our own Brian Hoffman covered the opening of Nate's brick and mortar location for his foundation, Nate's Next Kid Up. And from there, we covered more events throughout the year that Nate put on to help his community. In February, Nate's foundation was a victim to porch pirates, stealing packages he was delivering to kids in need. And in May, Nate held a Fight Against Child Abuse event with a Star Wars theme at the South Texas Botanical Gardens. And earlier this summer, he hosted his second annual Stuff the Pack giveaway to help with back to school supplies. And if you want to revisit any of these stories, they're on our website, christv.com. And well, Nate has stayed busy this year, and so have our roadways. Let's switch gears to take a live look at your traffic report. Steph, take it away.
All right, so if you're hitting the roadways right now, we don't look too bad here on SPID, but we do have some slow spots if you're trying to get to SPID, say from 37. Let's take a look at those maps now and show you what's going on. We have some real slowdowns as 37 approaches the crosstown, so some people take that to get to SPID. If you're near the interchange, you might just want to go ahead and take it farther up 37, or as an alternate route, you could head into downtown and catch crosstown around Leopard. Now, what we're seeing around the rest of town, a little stop and go on Saratoga, not anything out of the usual. We're looking good for the actual SP80 and crosstown interchange. And as we get toward the south side, Staples right now, pretty slow. Pack the patience. I'll show you what else is ahead in the forecast coming up right after the other side of this break. All right, giving you a beautiful sight outside. Looking good. We got some clouds, but no active rainfall here from our view. However, there's evidence of that view happening. As we take a look at the top right of your screen, all that cloud coverage is the tops of what were thunderstorms that have now fizzled out. So we'll take you to the radar now and show you what's going on right at this moment. Most of the rain today has been to our south, down in the valley, but a couple of beefy thunderstorms in Jim Hogg County and also across parts of Brooks County have given us a little more attention in our southern neighborhoods, places that really haven't seen as much rain the past couple of days that other neighborhoods did. So yes, a good downpour happening across the 16 corridor there. This is south of Hebronville, but we've seen some of those showers a little bit closer to town here throughout the afternoon. So hopefully we can get a little more rain in northern Jim Hogg County. Same with Brooks County, showers just to the south of Falfurrias, but when we do have rain, when it rains, it pours. It's the South Texas way, right? And so we're getting a good drink of water also near Fremont, just south of 281, but before the 285 interchange there. So something to keep in mind. And another batch of showers happening south of Kingsville. We did have a few lightning strikes with a thunderstorm earlier in Kingsville, but there really hasn't been a lot of lightning with today's thunderstorms because as soon as they grow, they fizzle out and they kick off another thunderstorm nearby. One such example, a good downpour happening right over Banquete right now, and some of that lingering in the Driscoll area. I wouldn't be surprised if that batch of rain closer to Driscoll gets a little bit stronger here as we head through the half hour. But they're very bubbly kind of thunderstorms, if we can call them that. Popcorn is what we technically call them because they pop up and then they're done. But again, the fact that they're coming down in buckets is exactly the type of rainfall that we need to really help us out in terms of drought in the dry soils around the area. So not much in the watershed today. And for us locally, really, it's been our southern neighborhoods, like I mentioned, getting the attention, which isn't a bad thing because last week it was more of our northern neighborhoods. Even getting some rain across the south side. It was brief, but from London out to Chapman Ranch and the far reaches of the south side, we did see some rainfall. So not too bad. We are feeling humid. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere to work with. We are looking for the spark to create the showers, and even if it takes a thunderstorm, something to wring out all this humidity. We have had a few showers here and there. It's helped our temperatures. We're sitting at 92 right now at CCIA, but feeling like 101. 89 at NAS Corpus Christi and the Bluff, feeling like 99. That same temperature in Rockport, feeling hotter at 100 degrees. And George West, ooh, we're roasting. 101 degrees, feeling like 102, so a drier heat, but yeah, it's not feeling too great out there. Over the next couple of hours in Corpus Christi, we'll watch those temperatures slowly make their way back down to the lower 80s. We'll have a few clouds out there tonight, but not a whole lot in the way of wind. It is still coming from that warm and muggy southeast wind direction, but we're going to have a little bit of a roller coaster of weather this week because what's bringing the rain chances this week is the same thing that did last week. A couple of early season cold fronts are trying to come through and they're not going to make it here, but at times, as you see right here, they can be unsettled and cause a thunderstorm here or there around the coastal bend, and it's not exactly a daytime thing only. Here's the latest front to kind of dance around the northern Gulf Coast. It is moving away from us, but we will see this grow a little bit closer through the middle of the week, move away from us and kind of take our rain chances with it, and then this weekend probably move a little bit closer to us then. So we'll be watching on and off rain chances throughout the week. Nothing really exciting happening in the tropics, but we do hope to get a good break from those hot temperatures later this week.
Welcome back. One popular airline is making a big switch to its seating policy for plus-size passengers. Starting January 27th, passengers who take up space in the neighboring seat will have to buy an extra ticket for Southwest. The current rules allow flyers to buy an extra seat ahead of time and get refunded later, or request an extra seat at no charge. But the new rules mean that the second seat will be non-refundable unless the flight departs with at least one open seat. Another big story is the growing Powerball jackpot, which has reached over $750 million. It's the 10th largest prize in Powerball history. And to win the big jackpot, you have to match 5 numbers plus the red Powerball number. Sounds simple, right? Well, the odds of picking the correct numbers are 1 out of 292 million. Well, never hurts to try, right? Good luck, everybody. It's hard to believe, but fall is almost here. Orange and brown leaves, crisp, chill air, but maybe not here in South Texas. But one autumn staple you can count on, the pumpkin spice latte. Starbucks announced its signature beverage will return to its menu tomorrow. The coffee chain brought the drink back a month earlier than usual because this year's Google searches for pumpkin spice spiked as of late. So starting tomorrow, Tuesday, you can get your first taste of fall. Do you think it's too soon? What do you think?
Maybe that's what triggered some of these early season cold fronts we've been seeing because, I mean, parts of North Texas are going to be in the 60s, like Abilene, maybe the DFW area. It's going to be very exciting. Not us. We are still going to be seeing the heat. So here's a look at our 7-day forecast. Upper 90s toward the end of the week when we get a break from the rain. So not quite fall yet.
All right, everybody, have a great night. We will see you here at 6 o'clock.
Bye.